this is the Whiffed with two T's. I've got some brand new content for you and I hope you enjoy it. If you'd like to see more, please subscribe, comment, and like my videos to let me know. Without further ado, let us begin! Hey there, hi there, ho there. I hope you enjoyed this video. It took me a while to make, but I'm very happy with it. Even if no one really gives a crap, I still think it was pretty fun to do. And I hope if people enjoy this to make more like it and maybe up the quality. I just do this in my free time and it's really come and go when I have free time. Without further ado, I have Warhammer 40K 10th edition video here. It's a competitive army list for every single faction for 10th edition with some parity included. I hope you enjoy. I'm going to try and keep this video under 30 minutes, but we'll see. So let's keep going. Until the new Autoscribe feature is available on TTS, I do not see myself playing. Probably. I already have one game under my belt, but it just took a while and a lot longer than usual. And I don't know. There's still a lot of rules I'm not sure of, which I don't like playing wrong. I don't feel like that's fair to me or my opponent. So we'll see how busy I am IRL or how much time I have to game, along with other stuff I want to do. There will be a data slate FAQ update in about 2 months, along with point updates and new models between the Tyranids and Space Marines. And so that should also be, unless I'm mistaken, which I totally could be, when a 10th edition is officially launched. And all this should be hopefully good time right now to upload this video so people can get a head up on what is a good army to build. And that, of course, for all the tournament goers, they already have it done. But hopefully this is still some good info. And you know what? Even if it's a bad list or it's, you know, just my subjective thoughts, hopefully people could take from it and maybe balance their list a bit better, or, you know, just think it's, quaint. Even in 2 months, I don't expect impactful wide changes for happening to 40k to most units, models, and lists, as this focus will be on outliers needing some rebalancing. So it's kind of like the big three on the top, big three on the bottom. Gene Stealer, Cole, Eldar, and Thousand Suns on the top, and on the bottom, Votan, Death Guard, and Admech. And so in about 2 to 6 months, that's when there'll be some more balancing. So this should be good until that point. So a pretty decent while, and maybe far beyond that for some armies. All these lists were made by myself with some minor review from some metadata and basic theory crafting, and I hope they're good enough for you to win some games. And while nothing's perfect, I hope these are good quality for now. PSA though, not all armies are created equal. Hashtag GW. Ha, I gotcha. Another PSA. I only have so much free time, aka rent. I constantly am trying to get a better job opportunity or something in California. It's a little challenging. It's very expensive, and right now it's very hot. And I wish I could do more. I wish I could provide more content for people, if it would be a full-time thing or just some other stuff. But que sera, sera. In this list, I do not cover every weapon loadout for this video, these lists, and I make mistakes, so please forgive me, as I just want to save time. The pictures here provide some proxy to some models that I'm going to show you in different armies, as I only want to invest some time into showing what the armies will look like as a showcase. Like, I don't have the right weapons. Hell, I use like a Chaos Lord to substitute for Cypher. But it's similar enough just for viewing. Before uploading, I made this and made multiple revisions after reviewing some great comps and players like Art of War Team and the info from Auspex and some other streamers and some other metadata from tournaments. But for better or for worse, these are my lists, and they are also different. So I hope you enjoy. Necrons, or as I call them, the Forever Rons, with the Awakened Dynasty detachment. For characters, you can have a Hexmark Destroyer, Orkin the Diviner, Overlord with the Resurrection Orb and Void Scythe, Overlord with a Warlord with the Resurrection Orb, Staff of Light, and the Enhancement of Sovereign Coronal Aura, Technomancer with Canoptic Cloak and Staff of Light, and the Transcendent Catan with Enhancement Temperamental Weave, because it's so tanky. Battle line, you're going to have one thick blob of 20 Necron Warriors, all with Gauss Flayers. I like Reapers, but you don't know if they're going to have value, so I'd rather play with Flayers just to be on the safe side. One Canoptic Reanimator, one thing of Crypto Thralls, 3 Doomsday Arcs, 3 Locust Destroyers, 2 Locust Heavy Destroyers, and 1 Lich Guard. I would put the Heavy Destroyers as separate. They are not in one unit, but I would put the regular Destroyers in one unit most of the time, because of some stratagems that Necrons have access to. You can get some more oomph out of that if you want to burn some CP for it, or you can separate them just in case if you want to force your opponent to split fire or to cover more ground to deny deep striking potential for like GSC. It's definitely an option. You're going to want to put Orkin and the Overlord not with the Sovereign Coronal, with the Orkin and the one with Sovereign Colonel with the Warrior Blob, just to give them a 4-up invul, and that way you'll be buffing all your Doomsday Arc nearby, along with everything else there. And you can use the other ones to... and the Crypto Thralls with them too. And you can use the other ones to just buff the Lich Guard. And the Lich Guard and the Transcendent Catan are going to try and push up mid, while the Doomsday Arcs just blow everything up, hopefully. And then here is the old versus new. So this is the old Necron list versus the new one. This is my only game under my belt. I played Necrons versus Tau. I'm going to be uploading that video soon. And it was pretty fun. Gene Stealer Cult, as I call them, the Levi Thieves. Bad joke. Detachment Ascension Day. Characters, you can have Abominant with Enhancement and Inscrutable Cunning. Patriarch is your Warlord, and then 3 Primus. And the 3 Primus, you're going to go with the 3 Acolyte Hybrids. You're going to have 2 20 blocks of Neophyte Hybrids and 2 10-man blocks of Neophyte Hybrids. An Aberrant and 2 Achilles Ridge Runners and a Pure Strain Gene Stealers. So I like the options here. If you want to be sketchy, you can try and have your Aberrants with the Inscrutable Cunning just run in along Pure Strain Gene Stealers. And if you want to 50-50 it, just put your shit right in front of your opponent's battle line, 9 inches out. If you win the coin toss, if you roll high and you go first, just run in and just delete some shit. And as if the Gene Stealer Cult wasn't strong enough, that's just going to be an insane lead. Like, it doesn't matter to me if I'm inversing, like, say, a K-Suns matchup. If round 1, before my opponent goes, I'm able to delete his entire Scarab Occult and possibly his Magnus before he can even start playing, the game's fucking over. The game is over. This is a very strong list. They're possibly the best faction right now. The last FAQ debatably buffed them, which is a little funny because it kind of buffed the demo charges for Acolyte Hybrids. Of course, all your Neophytes are going to have Seismic Cannons, and I will upload some other info later. And this is old versus new. So this is the old GSC. Still had a lot of Pure Strain, and it had the Goliath Rock Grinders, and now this is the new GSC. Tyranids, or as I call them, what are you doing, Stepbug? It's going to be Invasion Fleet for the detachment. For the characters, you're going to have 2 Broodlords, a Hive Tyrant with the Adaptive Biology, Siding Talons, and Bone Whip, because I like to go melee, along with Swarmlord, of course, as your Warlord. 2 Biovores, because easy secondaries, big cheese. 2 Lictors, separated for round 2, round 3, for free rapid ingress, big meme. 2 Tyrant Guards to try to keep your Hive Tyrant and Swarmlord alive for at least 1 to 2 rounds. Zoanthropes just blow up something. 2 Haruspecs because they're pretty cheap and good for their point cost. And you know what? You could argue, oh, well, if I throw a big blob of Crisis Suits into them, it'll die. Yeah, no shit. If you throw, like, 20 to 30 Meltas at something, it might die. Yeah, no, if that's your argument, fine. You know, I just absorbed that much with a 125-point model. I'll take that trade. And one thing in Neurogants, they're just there to sit in the back line and hold that objective while you just push up with everything else. Alright. And then, so this is actually, I think, a glow up for Tyranids. Before, I had Exocrines because they were just nasty in the melee, and you just super buffed your Tyranid Warriors to just get +1 hit, +1 to wound, reroll hits and wounds, and just everything else. And I don't remember if they got +1 to wound, but yeah, they would just get nutty. I think this is an overall good rebalancing for Nids. Leagues of Voton, or as I say, Rock and Stone, Oathband, Dig, Dig, Hole, Diggy, Diggy, Hole. Characters, you're going to have 2 Broken Iron Masters. One of them is going to have Appraising Glare. That's going to be the one that's going to be like sitting more in the back line, trying to just stare at people, mad, build some grudges, write down some names. You're going to have a call with Warfar's Grace and another call with Long List. These 2 calls are going to be with the 2 Hearthguard units. You're going to have 2 Heckland Land Fortresses with 2 Brelkir Thunderkin. This is so hard. They need some love. Part of me wants to run 3 goddamn Hearthguard. Boy, I feel like this is a more optimized way to play them. You're getting heals on the Land Fortresses because of the Iron Masters. You're just splitting your opponent's attention all over the place between the Warriors with them, the Land Fortresses, and the Hearthguard. And then after the Thunderkin come out of the Hearthguard, they get +1 to wound bonus. and so that's going to be a bit more advantageous for them. But they just really need some more value. Old versus new. Previously it was just Bike-Ageddon, and I did run Uthar. I know the Ymir was very good, but I do think getting the auto 6 devastating wounds guarantee was very funny with the super cannon. And this is the new one. Eldari, or as I call it, Space Elf Supremacy, Battle Host Attachment. For characters, I have Aratak. You can have a Death Jester with the enhancement of Fate's Messenger, because that way, if you really want to dump into him, you can get a lot of silly bonuses, or you can like pray and make some funny stuff happen with him. Eldrad Utheron, Jane Czar, Solitaire, and the Yinkarn. Yinkarn, big meme. Was it the Sanguinor on crack? Sanguinor's Wet Dream. 2 Storm Guardians to try to keep the Autotarch and the Eldrad alive. 3 Fire Prisms. Howling Banshee to go with Jane Czar. And 2 Warp Spider squads. So I was thinking about going to Deep Strike and shoot Fugan with some Fire Dragons. That is something that's worth considering. But I just become concerned with them getting possibly thrown away. Or just dying to Overwatch. That's very annoying to me. You could change the list up to have them as well. That's definitely something to consider. But Fire Prisms already just do so good. They're so fine. And because they have Linked Fire and their point cost right now, I think they're very good. You could make the argument for Night Shroud as as I said, just deep striking some Fire Dragons. But this is currently what I have, along with the Warp Spiders, because you have Eldrad, and he can plop Doom on somebody, and now those Warp Spiders, let's say, for instance, you're shooting against GSA Chaff, Eldar Chaff, Sisters Chaff, or Imperial Guard Chaff, or Tau Chaff. If you're shooting any of those, anything that's AKA T3, they're already wounding on 3-ups, now they're wounding on 2-ups. So if you have to shoot Chaff, excellent. If you have to shoot a T12 Knight, guess what? +1 wound, you're wounding on 5s now, which is not bad. This is a bit of a lie. This is 2 separate armies, and this is the new combined one because they combined Harlequins. RIP, Harlequin lost their codex. I feel like it's actually a good rebalancing though. Yeah, their Strands of Fate was insane, but now that that's been fixed, I think it's mostly been retuned. I still think there needs to be some minor point changes, but I don't want GW to go too hard because I like where they are now. I just think, if anything, that other armies need to be tuned down 5%. That's it. And other armies need to be risen up to their level. Ducare. Or as I call them, pain-attracted individuals. Real Space Raiders. For characters, I got 2 Archons, a Homunculus, and Lilith Hesperex. Homunculus is going to be a Warlord because he's going to hang out in Narnia and not be involved in anything. My dog is like panting so hard. Battle line, you're going to have 2 Kabalite Warriors. They're going to be both in, I'm going to skip around to the 2 dedicated transport Raiders, along with the Archons, just kind of buffing them to gain that firing from inside. 2 Arak, just to hang out with the Homunculus in the back, and then Witches with the Lilith, just to run in and beat some cheeks. Kronos, this has actually gone from very quick in melee to a lot of quick shooting. Dark Lance, Heat Lance galore. Kronos, and then 3 things of Reavers, 3 things of Scourges, and a Void Raven Bomber. Now, the Bomber is a hot take. I don't think it's a good choice. I'm still stuck on it being very fun, very cool, and honestly, no other faction has any airborne units. They're all kind of just bad right now. The worst thing is bombers. But I still feel like it's a cool thing to use, and I guess I'm just going to die on that hill. This is one of the things where I would recommend taking the Raven Bomber out, maybe substitute it in for getting some more Cronoses. That'd be definitely an option. So just be something to look into. That's like my only regret, possibly. It's like this and AdMech, maybe. So this is the old one, lots of quick melee. This is lots of quick shooting. Orcs! Ah! Nuffle be praised, the Wa tribe. So you're gonna have Captain Budruck, Badruck, Booty Butt, Mazruk Scrugbad. He's gonna be your warlord because he's so gosh darn tanky. Two war bosses with the power claws. You're gonna have a def battle wagon. Sorry, you're gonna battle wagon with a def roller, grabbing claw, wrecking ball, zap gun, lava, big shooters, and an odd case. This thing is so customizable. But yeah, you're gonna have the battle wagon just so you can transport your war bosses and the two big blobs and knobs down the middle of the field, and then round 2 you can wah and just wreck face. That's the entire plan. Advance that bitch and just poop on your opponent. Flash gets, because you know what, with Captain Badrock it's not bad. If they can actually get all their shooting off, especially if they get the heavy bonus, pretty good. It's a little surprising. Grab Mega Tanks just to hopefully stay alive and just honestly absorb some shooting. Just have your opponent be distracted and shoot them. 3 Squighog Boys and a Gretchen. I just noticed I didn't include points. If you want the points, look it up yourself. I apologize. Usually I have the points. Those are one of the ones I did at the end. This is like a glow down from orcs, at least in my opinion, because I used to have 3 of battle wagons and 3 kill rigs and a ton of boys. This is like a melta check. If your opponent didn't have hard melta spam, they're screwed. Especially since the kill rigs, they were characters because of the Psyker, and so they would get the WA bonuses because it was character locked. Because it changes now, I unfortunately don't think as much as it's, was it the Green Tide, which is most unfortunate. The Tau, or as I call them, Cyberfish. So the Kayun detachment. Big meme. Currently, you can do Commander Farsight and Shadowsun together. I also run a Commander in Cold Star Battlesuit with Exemplar of the Kayun and Long Strike. I'm going to keep going, then I'll talk about something. Battle line, you're going to have 2 strike teams, and then you're going to have a Crisis Battlesuit, all with Cyclonic Ion Blasters, and another one with all fusion rifles. The fusion rifle one is going to be with Farsight, and the Cyclonic Ion Blasters is going to be with Cold Star Commander. 2 Ghost Kill Battlesuits, because they're just insane for their point cost right now. Pathfinder team, and 2 Stealth Battlesuits and Crew Hounds, just to hold an objective in Narnia. So, this is when I did my Necron versus Tau match. I'd edit this list. I think my opponent had something good, which is the Cold Star Commander instead of the regular Crisis Suit Commander, and then with the Cyclonic Ion Blasters instead of more fusion rifles. Because when we play tested it, he had to do it on the 2 damage profile, which is hazardous, and he ended up taking like 8 mortal wounds. But he was able to actually kill the Necron blob. He was able to successfully do it, which was impressive to me. And so that is something that's actually able to do that. So nothing. If you don't do that, then it's not going to really happen. So you need to do that if you want it to happen. I think we made some mistakes. He gave himself an extra ballistic skill. I could be mistaken, but I ran the test with the correct numbers and it's still able to be done. So it's on average, it can barely be done. Old versus new, all the drones are kind of just removed. They just passively exist for half the drones. Like shield drones just count for giving wounds. I feel like this is a good rebalancing for Tau. I'm for it. Except for the Shadow Sun is lone op by herself, and then you don't get like a drone to just absorb all the damage really as much for stuff as much anymore, and she's with Farsight. That's just weird. World Eaters. I call them Angry Marines. I know Angry Marines is something else, but I'm just going for this. Berserker Warband. Characters. You got Angron, Khorne the Betrayer, World Eater's Demon Prince with the enhancement of Favorite of Khorne, and then another Demon Prince, the one with wings, with Berserker Glaive. 2 World Eaters, Master of Executions. The reasoning is because the 2 Master of Executions and Khorne are going to be with the Berserker squads. The regular Demon Prince provides a defensive boost that are going to be just keeping them alive. Rhino is going to roll shit down the field. It's going to be pretty nice. And then a Chaos Spawn just to hang out and hold an objective. And they did make the change where, because of Favorite Khorne, you can't just automatically get Angron now, but that was already ridiculous. But it's not like you have unreasonable chances, and the dude slaps. I think this is definitely a negative. Last time, the regular 8-bound, not the Exalted, were very nice. I prefer their profile. I think they had a better profile, and unless I'm mistaken, they had some bonuses to charging out of deep and whatnot. Or no, they could come out of strategic reserves around early, so they could do some nonsense on round 1 and stuff. So that was very nice. I do miss it. I miss it a lot. Time to talk about Chaos Demons. As I call them, big demon energy. Daemon. Daemon means spirit, by the way, in Greek. Demons Incursions. So you're gonna have Be'lakor as your warlord. You got Demon Prince Chaos with Demon Legends to Nurgle with an Endless Gift. Demon Prince Chaos Wings with Khorne with Argoth, the King of Blades. Pretty obvious. One is tanky, one is damage dealy. Epidemus to go with Plague Bear Squad of Battle Line, Shalaxi Hellbane because she's insanely tanky, Selesky to go with Demonettes, and Changeling because there was just points left over, and there's this funny meme on a chance when you roll that's also with Eisenhorn and like one other thing I think, where you can just stop your opponent from shooting or attacking or doing anything, which is just hilarious to me. Yeah. And then 2 Skull Cannons because they're not bad, and that's that way you can actually move up the field with stuff, and these guys can just kind of be these giant models holding the back line. I do definitely feel like the previous demons was stronger. Part of that is because of the flamers from Tzeentch, but you've basically changed out the Lord of Change for Shalaxi, and Shalaxi is definitely tankier, not by much because that guy was insane. But he dumped a lot of mortals, so I'm not quite sure. I do know that this is not as good, but it's not too far off. It's still fun, and it's a lot of big beefy units. If you want to play with like knights, basically this is kind of like knights with some smaller stuff. I cannot stop sneezing between cuts. All right, so I'm gonna be doing Death Guard. It's gonna be the convention players, because BO. Plague Company. You're going to have 2 Death Guard Chaos Lords, 2 Foul Blight Spawns, and a Lord of Contagion is your Warlord. You're going to have the 2 Plague Marines squads, just all melee focused, and 2 Death Guard Land Raiders, and a Death Shroud Terminator, and 2 Mythic Blight Haulers. This is all just so you can run these dudes down the middle of the field, and just be a menace, and just hopefully survive, because they're just so slow. So it's really hard to just get into melee and be able to do anything, which is very unfortunate. But once they can get into melee, since they are all melee focused, they're definitely going to have some advantages versus some other armies. I just wish the Land Raiders held more than 12. That's just really bonkers to me. But yeah, this is going to be able to hopefully be decent enough to get some work done. I'd say split up your Blight Haulers. I don't remember if you can, but if you can, split them up. I would say to try to hold an objective better. Yeah, they need help right now. I miss my dildo drill. I think that was a very funny thing to include before. And Plague Burst spam. Hell, Mephitic Blight Haulers even got weaker. Like everything they're just not as tough, and they don't hit as hard. They have major problems right now, and because of the toughness increase, they themselves are only decreasing by 1 still. So a lot of things got tons more toughness, but their debuff didn't change. They should increase their toughness decrease by 1, so it's gonna be -2. That'd be interesting. That makes some more interesting things happen. I'd be very interested to see that, and it'd be such an easy change. I don't know why. Do it, GW. Do it. Chaos Space Marines, or I call it Edgy Marines, slaves to darkness. You can have Abaddon, the Despoiler, with Cypher, Dark Commune, and Warpsmith. The Dark Commune is going to be Slaanesh, Warpsmith is going to be Khorne. Battle line, you're going to have a Cultist Mob with Nurgle Mark. Curse of Cultist, you're going to be Slaanesh because the Dark Commune is to go with them. I'd like it to be Khorne, but they'd both have to be, so meh. Because I just want them to run in and use their +1 to wound and maybe get some work done. If your Cultist Mob is the one that's going to be holding back on a objective, or you can swap them for the Forge Fiend. The Forge Fiend itself is also going to be Nurgle. The Warpsmith is not attached to the Forge Fiend, so he himself can be Khorne, and then if someone comes by, he's stronger, that's good, and the Forge Fiend is the one that needs to be tanky, that's good. The Possessed, you could make them Slanesh or Undivided. Both are recommended. I think both are good. Don't make them Corn. That's not necessary. But just so you have access to stratagems to reroll their hits, just to make the most out of Dev Wounds, that is better for Chaos Undivided. So they can definitely slap up if you need to trade up against like Shalaxi or something tough, T10, T12, Possessed with Chaos Undivided is your better choice if they can get into combat. So that just helps them get into combat better. So that's something to convey. And then Shalaxi Hellbane because she's tanky as fuck. I think this is actually a bit healthier because the Terminator brick with the Master Possession and the Dark Apostle was just stupid. You basically were just needing to run that in every Chaos Marines list because it was just so good to pass off. That'd be like a stupid idea not to do. You would just need to do it. And you can run other things, but if you really want to be stupid, you can just run 3 bricks of Possessed also. 2 to 3 bricks of Possessed, and like that was good. They were very good. And so now this definitely is a bit more diverse, a bit healthier, I think, for Chaos. Unfortunately, similar to Imperium, a lot of Chaos Marines and Space Marine detachments are no more, so this is just the only one I will include for Chaos Marines, unfortunately. Same as with Demons, was just the one. Thousand Suns, aka Nerds. Nerds! They're gonna be Cult of Magic. Characters, you're gonna have Ahriman on a disc of Tzeentch, Exalted Sorcerer on disc of Tzeentch, with Enhancement Lord of Forbidden Lore. That way, what you can do, big meme, is you can have, I believe Ahriman can reduce the cost to 0, so you can make Doombolt cost nothing, or do something more expensive, and then you can have the Sorcerer also Doombolt. Or what you want to technically do is if you have the ability to, is not use Ahriman's reduction because it's once per game, and save it for when you lose guys, and that way you can still do an expensive ritual for free, and it won't affect your Cabal points. Magnus the Red, Warlord of course, Thousands, Demon Prince to just keep shit alive. The 2 River Marines, they're expensive to bring, but it's just to keep the Exalted Sorcerer and Ahriman, which are just the better things for utility and getting some damage and effects out. Mulith Vortex Beast and Scarab Cult Terminators, of course, and Changeling because big meme. Oh, and the Thousand Suns Terminator Sorcerer is going to have Athenian Scrolls. The 2 big damage dealers in this list are the Scarab Cult Marines, Terminators, and Magnus. If you lose one or both of them, round 1 or 2, you're basically going to lose. But if your opponent targets anything else, or they just don't dump into them fast enough, you're going to win. Like, they're just so strong with the amount of buffs this list gives, and also the side extra options for mortals. Because of how I've built it, it's very good. It's very, very good. I think this is definitely a nerf. Right now, people are, oh, it's insane. It's very good for 10th. But I have no doubt the 9th would just beat its booty cheeks up. No doubt in my mind. My 9th, hot take, people were just, oh, K-Suns aren't good for 9th. Bullshit, skill issue. This K-Suns list for 9th on the left here, I think is the number 3 army. Number 1, Imperial Guard. Number 2, Iron Hands. And then number 3, K-Suns. I don't know if I'll die on that hill, but I'm pretty sure they're much better than people give them credit for 9th, unfortunately. They're very good. I mean, yeah, 10th isn't bad. I am very happy the Mulith Vortex Beast finally got some love. I love that model. I think it's really cool. But it just wasn't that good in 9th, unfortunately. Chaos Knights. As I call them, T10, lol. Traitorous Lance. So, you're going to have, for characters, the Knight Tyrant is your Warlord with Brimstone Volcano Lance. 1 Ectoplasma Decimator, 2 Geestrike Missile Launchers, Titanic Feet, 2 Twin Demon Breath Meltaguns, and 1 Twin Desecrator Cannon. And he's going to have the Panoply of the Cursed Knights. This is going to make him more tanky and give some more bonuses, which is very nice. And then a War Dog Stalker, which technically counts as bandline and character. Just has both. He's going to have the Avenger Chain Cannon, Havoc Multi-Launcher, and Reaper Chain Talon. For Battle Lines, I'm going to have 3 War Dog Brigands with Havoc Multi-Launchers, and 3 War Dog Huntsmans with Demon Breath Multi-Guns. And they're going to have the respective melee as well, or I believe, if possible, the Chain Sword, not the Claw. And Shalaxi Hellbane, again, because why not? She's so tanky. The thing that's funny about this is that because Tyrant is the only big knight, he's the only one that was hit with the towering point increase. But the rest of the knights didn't. Nothing in this list else changed for points, and it's good if you run a Tyrant with a bunch of mini knights because similar to Imperium, if you have a big knight, mini knight, big knight, mini knight, they can give bonuses. However, if you just run the Tyrant, he gives all of them a +1 to their save. So that definitely gives you some more survivability round 1 and round 2, which is what you mostly need, just to get them to either be a shooty or melee faction to counter your opponent and get in and get some combat in. Old versus new, very similar. It's basically lost 2 mini knights in order to get Shalaxi. And I think that's a good trade. I'm very happy with that trade. I think it's actually better than 9th. It's kind of random. Black Templars, Deus Volt. Righteous Crusaders for characters. You can have a Castellan with Sigmund Steel enhancement, High Marshal Helbrecht with as your warlord, and the Primaris Tech Marine with Perdition's Edge, and Emperor's Champion, of course. You're gonna have the 3 dudes that can lead a squad. The Primaris Sword Brethren, Calidus Assassin, and Astreus. This is a bit of a cop-out. I think their melee was good enough that I just wanted something to just be a big fuck you in the back line, just to hang out and kind of prevent anybody from really killing it, or they just have to dump so much firepower into it. It's going to take multiple rounds. And because of the Tech Marine, he's going to be keeping it alive and keeping it a menace. The Astreus is definitely going to be pretty good. I feel like, unfortunately, this is better than the 9th edition one. I thought the 9th edition one was kind of cool with some combinations you could do. But, yeah, I feel like this is just far more imposing. Just look at the pictures. Intimidating as fuck. Also, big meme. Let me check real quick. Crap. I should have done this beforehand. I'm such a bad YouTuber. Okay, so unless I'm mistaken, Deus Volt, Hall Marshal Helbrecht, he has the ability. Wasn't it him? Or was it the Castellan? Oh, I'm thinking of Deathwatch. Never mind. Blood Angels, aka Booty Angels. Booty, 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 rocking everywhere for Sanguinius. Sons of Sanguinius Detachment. You're going to have Asterath, Brother Corballo, Captain Tycho, I know, odd pick, Commander Dante, and the Sanguinor. You're going to have Intercessor Squad, Death Company Marines with Jetpacks, Devastator Squad, Sanguinary Guard, and a Vanguard Veteran Squad. Everyone that could be with a group of dudes is with a group of dudes. And then Callous Assassin and Inquisitor Eisenhorn. I had some extra points left over, and there wasn't anything with the 180 points that really, I don't know, reach out to me as being an amazing pick. You could run a Desolator or something else, an Eradicator, but Callous Assassin Inquisitor Eisenhorn is not bad also, and you have some decent enough melee as it is, with most of your list being melee. So you could run some more range. It's definitely an option. I just feel like being able to turn off shooting and taxation is just very good as well. So if you wanted to do those alternates, those are the alternates I would recommend. Otherwise, here's my Blood Angel list. I do feel like, unfortunately, this is healthier because running as many Death Company, like one fat thing of Death Company and then a shit ton of Sanguinary, was just dumb. It was so fast. It was so punishing. My God. You could argue for more Sanguinary still because they get free Inferno Pistol, and they're not bad. So if you really want to do Sanguinary Brick, you still can do Sanguinary Bricks. But I feel like it's better to do it the way I have it, just so you can get all these character bonuses. Fun fact: Tycho, if he gets wounded but he lives, that's when he activates his trap card, and he gets double the attacks for the rest of the game. And the man will hit like a truck. So I just think it's very funny. You could remove that and edit the list a bit better. I just think it's one hell of a meme to not pass up on. Dark Angels, aka Dank Angels, the Unforgiven Task Force. Ugh. The characters who you can find on Hot Topic are Azrael, Belial, the Lionel Johnson. I don't like what they did with him in the lore, within like recent stuff. Honestly, hot take. Samael and Intercessor Squad for Battle Line for your other dash sheets. Deathwing Knights, Ravenwing Black Knights, Ravenwing Dark Shroud to try to give some bonuses, and Stern Guard Veteran Squad actually, and a Callous Assassin. This is very risky. This feels, for some reason to me, riskier than Grey Knights, but I know this will perform better for some reason. That, like, eludes me. Which is very upsetting. I think Lionel Johnson is because he's carrying it, like, on his back. He is just a beast in melee, and could just dumpster any unit, almost, in the game by himself, with change to spare. I feel like Ravenwing, the change, made them better than Deathwing, and overall was a bit healthier. I kind of missed the Deathwing Knight spam because they were just so tanky. And I have a amazing memory of just getting bodied by them that I love because it was just so funny. And also just people would like, I would concede or other people would concede if they march up to you and they're not dead yet. Because you know what's going to happen. So, even though nothing's happened, you just concede because it's going to happen. The pain. So, unfortunately, I do feel like there's a major drop down from them. But it's okay. They're not terrible. If anything, they're actually quite balanced. Adeptus Mechanicus. 101010. That means 42. 42 in Guardians of the Galaxy was a programming code joke for asterisk, which was used as a analogy / coder terminology for a placeholder of unknown variable. So life is whatever you want it to be. That's why the answer is 42, because the machine was a computer. There, now you understand what that means. the answer to the universe, everything, it's 42. It's a programmer joke. Red Cohort. 3 Tech Priest Dominus, 2 Tech Priest Engineer, 2 Tech Priest Manipulus with Execrating Emanation, and another Manipulus. You can have Rangers, 2 Vanguard, an Electro Priest getting buffed, an Iron Strider Bellstari hanging out in between the... Where is this bloody thing? 2 Scorpius Disintegrators, Sicarian Ruststalker, and Cataphrone Breachers, and Inquisitor Eisenhorn, because I had extra points and I would prefer to do a Calidus if I could, but I can't. They need help. They need a point decrease. I think the big thing they need is a point decrease. I think that would balance them out quite well because they're just bad right now. And ironically, their special freaking gimmick can buff a few factions. They make your opponent stronger. Like, I played a match when I was it Emperor's Children into I think it was Night Lords or Alpha Legion, and I don't have my characteristics modified, and he would modify my characteristics, and I have other bonuses, so I basically just nullified his. I didn't make him better, and he didn't make me better. Like, this AdMech will literally make Dark Angels better and a few other factions, so it's a big issue right now. They're just... All their characteristics and points just don't match up for every other faction. They need some love. And I would be very happy to redo this list. I could also redo this list better. This is the only one I kind of feel bad about, I think. I feel like it's pretty low quality. But part of it is just like, what are you going to do right now? Old versus new. This was hilarious. Because you could just have, hitting on 2s for 1 round, an army of... Iron Striders with twin Cogni Las Cannons. And so if your opponent went elite or heavy, oh no, you're going to delete them. Like, oh, that's a nice group of Terminators you have there. Let me roll by 30 Las Cannons. Oh no, they're gone. There goes 400 to 500 points. Oh look, round 2, I'm going to do it again. Oh, bleh. And you stack a bunch of bonuses on your Rangers too. This was far superior. Far superior. They just got squished so hard. I think, honestly, They got squished harder than Death Guard for just the disparity. The disparity difference is just massive. My dog is having doggy dreams. What are you chasing, girl? You chasing a cat? What are you chasing? Speaking of which, of dogs, woo woo woo! Space Wolves, furries in space, champions of Russ. Fun fact: when they say wolf, a lot of the times, or I'd say maybe half the time, it doesn't mean wolf. They're just using words that the Imperium can't necessarily translate, so it's just been kind of thought to mean some variation of wolf. So a lot of times, if you have an external person talking about space wolves and they say wolf for a lot of wolfen times and stuff, it may not mean wolf. They just don't know the proper verbiage, so they just say, fuck it, we'll call it wolf. You have Bjorn the Fell-Handed, 3 chaplains with jump packs, blah, blah, blah. Intercession Squad, 3 Long Fangs, 5-man, 3 Space Wolf Venerable Dreadnoughts, and 3 Vanguard Veterans Squads with jump packs, and Vindicare Assassin. This is made so you can split up the 5-man squads across the table. Oh, she's definitely chasing something. Oh, woof, 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 woof. To try to just balance it out on how you need to play. If you can use the Vindicare to maybe get the Warlord bonus for the Saga of the Bear, I believe, or one of the other sagas. I don't know. They need some love. I really don't like what they did with Wolfen, and I'll get to that right now. Because previously, I had tons of Wolfen. But guess what? Wolfen have OC freaking 0. So, I would say, honestly, just make the Wolfen pack leader, give him OC 1. Like, make a annotation. He gets 1, the rest goes 0. That'd be fine with me. And just give them all their older rules. Can't speak. I love the Wolfen. I definitely think this is a point decrease. Not a point decrease. A effectiveness decrease for Space Wolves. Very unfortunate. Very unfortunate indeed. And you used to be able to combo if you wanted to do it for weird reasons. You could put Terminators with your Long Fangs. Give your Devastators effectively a 4-up invul, 2-up regular save, 3 wounds. But not anymore. So, a lot of cool combos were stripped from them. That's why I say I think 9th edition overall was better. Yep. Alright, Adeptus Custodes, gold members, shield host. You're gonna have that's kind of weird versus saying what shield host. You're gonna have a shield captain with the Veiled Blade, another shield captain with the Ceaseless Hunter, and Trajan Valoris. You could do some combinations here to have a Blade champion instead, but I think being able to guarantee that your 2 Warden squads can get buffed up if they need to be double buffs and be very tanky is very nice. I put more value in that instead of trying to get them in the melee because I don't think they're necessarily it's going to happen, or you'd have to bring them in from strategic reserves, which is just as much of a chance you do this anyways instead of just getting a reroll or +1. I think this is overall better to get the -1 to wound. Custodian Guard, that's going to be a 10-man brick of Custodian Guard, and the Warden's going to be 6 guys. And Trajan's going to go with the Guard, all with spears, just so they have that awesome shooting melee, and their shooting can't be affected. So they will actually be able to kill things, and just be a brick to hopefully hang out. Vindicare Assassin, just to hide, lone operative, hold your backline objective, hang out. And 2 Caldas Grav Tanks, because they are awesome! And I definitely have the Blaze Cannon. Yeah. I actually like this more than the end of 9th edition. 9th edition was not too far off, though. Both were nice. I liked early 9th, before they got their codex. They were way stronger than. If we count between now and then, for 10th, and before they got their codex in 9th, pre-codex 9th, far superior. So strong. Adeptus Sororitas, aka Sisters of Battle. Hey, soul sisters! Hollow Martyrs. You're gonna have 3 Dialogus characters. You're gonna have a Hospitaller, Junith Arida, Morven Val, and Saint Celestine. Battle Sister Squad, and Celestian Sacrosaints. The Sacrosaints are gonna be with the Hospitaller and Junith, of course. So now they have -1 to hit, -1 to wound, a 5-up Feel No Pain, 4-up Invul. Which is quite weird. You've turned this 130 point unit into 270 points of very, very tankiness. They're tankier than Terminators, kinda, in a weird way. Kind of. the Terminators will have 5 guys versus the 10 here, and they have 3 wounds each, but these are going to hit harder, so it's quite funny. Paragon Warsuits, of course, for Morven Vol. 3 Repentance Squads, because they just have the Superior built in. And they're not bad. They're not bad still. They're a decent pick. 3 Retributors, because why not, with the Dialogus. So that way, if you want, you can be like, auto 6. I want my 1 or 2 Miracle Dice to now become a 6. Suck that 6 damage. Or, yes, I only wound you on a 6 or hit you on a 6. Nice. Okay, here's the 6. And the Zephyrim with St. Celestine, because why not? I'm not sure. I think my 9th edition was superior one. I hot take didn't do Bloody Rose. I did, god damn it, not Martyred Lady. Wow. Embarrassing. But I did the one where, you can move and shoot. I thought that was very nice because, multi-meltas. Multi-melta spam. And that was before everything became goddamn T10. So multi-meltas were still just very, very good. For how it is now, I think for 10th this is obviously better because multi-meltas just aren't as good. So while I still run them, it's just unfortunate because it's like that way you can actually hit hard for anything that's below T9 or at T9. But the sisters just struggle for anything that's above that. It's very unfortunate. Imperial Guard. I call them Unit 731. That's some dark humor for ya. Combined Regiment. So, you're going to have Lord Solar Leontis, the Chad himself. Regimental Engine Seer, Ursula Creed, and Iron Hand Striken. You're going to have, for Battle Line, 3 Kidian Shock Troops, a Ketachan Jungle Fighter, and a Death Corps of Krieg. A Doomhammer to be buffed by the Regimental Engineer, of course, and to be getting orders from Lord Solar. A Lehman Russ Battle Tank, and 3 Manticores and 3 Scout Sentinels. How this is set up is that you can get around the negatives imposed from indirect fire, and that way you can get decent damage output through those indirect fire negatives that will no longer affect you, and your ballistic skill will actually get better, and your opponent doesn't get the save bonuses. So this is the only army now, because of the changes for the Eldar and the nerfs into towering, that I think are still reasonable to run with indirect. It's still very good. Compared to last edition, this is an insane decrease because Guard are just stupid for 9th. I ran a test of 10 dudes with the Melta tips with the, so it's the, oh god, what are they called? The Attilan Rough Riders, the Rough Rider squad with the Lord Solar buff and everything else into the Doom tank. They kill it. They kill it. Like, what the fuck? Almost 1/3 the point cost, and they just dumpster everything. It's insane. Vanquishers were insane. The Kazarkin bomb was insane. So this was a much needed nerf to Guard, and thankfully indirect is also not super insane. It's been toned down since the start of 10th, where it was kind of getting crazy. This is very much needed though, because Guard at the end of 9th, ugh, oh my god. Grey Knights, or I call them Kniggets. The Teleport Strike Force. You're going to have the Grandmaster and Nemesis Dread Knight with Inescapable Wrath, Kaldor Drago, and Grandmaster Volvis. You're going to have a Strike Squad, 2 Grey Knight Venerable Dreadnoughts, and 2 Paladin Squads. That's it. This might be the smallest army, including Custodes, that I have. This is going to be so small. Because the Paladin Squads, they, similar to the Wardens, they get -1 to wound, but you have now 10 of these dudes instead of the 6 Wardens, and Voltus is going to be 1, giving them -1 to hit as well. And it is insane, because what you could do, right? This is crazy. You can run the one Paladin squad and say, it doesn't matter, Drago in the warp. And then, so that's what, 665 points. You can run the Nemesis Dread Knight in the warp, 665, so that's going to be, what, 100, so 800, 925 points or something. There, you're good. Just hang out like that.
Or if you really wanted, you could do the 2 Venerable Dreadnoughts in the warp as well. And so that way, what you can do is round 2, you move the Strike Squad and the other 2 units, however you want to cut this pie. You use the Grey Knight ability to just auto teleport them somewhere and drop your other stuff across the board. So you can quite easily hide your entire army and get the round 2 advantage on your opponent. And the Grandmaster Nemesis Dread Knight, 8-inch charge. Drago, 6-inch charge. So this is just a insane threat for your opponent to deal with. And if you're going to keep the Voldus Paladin Squad on the ground, because it's so expensive, your opponent is shooting indirect fire with now -1 to hit and -1 to wound at Terminators. So who gives a shit? Like, you are good to go. From comparing to 9th, I think this is actually a buff. The Nemesis Dread Knight spam was an issue, and so I'm kind of glad with this change. But, oh my god, if your opponent brings, like Tau, Plasma Rifle spam, you're going to be having problems, boy. You're going to be 50-50, 4-up involing, 3 damages. Like, a lot of Knights and some other things have 3 damage. Ooh, that can just destroy this army real quick. Very scary. So, you know, this army will either dumpster or get dumpstered. Death Watch. So Death Watch is going to be license and registration, please. The Black Spears Task Force. I actually edited this based on Art of War. I changed how mine was. Mine was very different. This is not matching theirs because I want to be different. And I think theirs might be better. I'm not sure. I do have a captain, 2 Librarian and Phobos armor, and a Watchmaster. The 2 Librarian and Phobos armor are going to be both in Infiltrator squads. So now, your opponent can deep or bring in reserves within 12 of them. And then they all have stealth and basically lone operative. Where now, if your opponent's not within 12, they also can't be shot. So they just know you. Just keep your opponent way off the board. And this is very annoying for some armies to play with. Grey Knights and Genestealer Cult and a few other armies would just not be happy with this combination. Because you can't deep over there. You can't charge them. You can't shoot them. You can't do anything to them. You have to fly up the field to get to them. So there's that. 2 Proteus kill teams. 3 Desolation squads. Only with 5 guys. Just so you can spam the Vengor launchers for their leader. Storm Speeder Hailstrike. Just to try to... This is very cheesy, unfortunately. And a Callous Assassin to try to get 1 squad to get extra AP and just dumpster with your Desolations first, and then try to bring in the extra damage output and via the extra AP to try to keep your opponent on the back foot while you just kind of hold the midfield with your Proteuses. And even if they play the slow game with you, they can't come in from your back line because you're keeping them off with the Infiltrator and Phobos armor combination, and you're just blowing them away from indirect. So that's just very ugh. It's not as good though because of the changes and the point increase of Desolators, but unfortunately I think it's still good to do. This is weird. I think Deathwatch before was better, but you had to be a Chad to play it because you need to really flaunt your knowledge on how to play it well. And I would run, as you can see from the left picture, 2 drop pods to just deep these motherfuckers round 1 and charge your opponent. If you were good in tactical positioning, or more so your opponent was very bad and didn't respect your ability to just dumpster them, if you rolled a 9 up, this army would get reroll hits, reroll wounds. It was stronger in melee in 9th edition, so it was much more threatening. So that was definitely a threat. This might be better now, but I don't think it's as fun. Maybe that's a subjective take. The regular Codex Marines, which is going to be Ultramarines, aka Space Smurfs, Gladius Task Force. Similar to Chaos Marines, I do not cover all the non-Codex based factions right now, like Salamanders, Imperial Fists. I would have, but they don't have any uniqueness. Their uniqueness is based on characters only. They don't have any other special rules. And so the best version for Chaos Marines is just the only one I'm going to show. And the best version for Space Marines is going to be the only one I show. So it's going to be 2 Chaplains with jump packs, a Primaris Apothecary with Artificer Armor, Reboot Gilliman. I always want to say Robot Girly Man. Sergeant Kronos. You're going to have Intercessor Squad with the Primus Apothecary. I didn't realize the Primus Apothecary could be with the regular Intercessors for some reason. I don't know why that was confusing me. 3 Eradicator Squads and a Predator Destructor, and that's going to have Sergeant Kronos in it, buffing it, and then 2 Vanguard Veteran Squads. Now, you could say, like, oh, why do you have Eradicator Squads with Gilliman? That seems counterintuitive. Maybe, but the thing is their bonus applies to vehicles and monsters. So now if you want to target, say, a Terminator brick, you still can, but you wouldn't get their reroll hits and wounds. Now you can. You could target 1 or 2 Terminator bricks because of the Oath of Moment combination with the Primarch. So that's pretty good. Also, you could just use them to target their pre-designed thing, which is vehicles and monsters, and then have your Vanguard veterans get the buffs instead for melees, and they're going to be flying in. So they're going to get what they need to do. And because of the Chaplain, +1 to wound. So nice. However, the best Space Marine before, I think, would be Iron Hands, and Iron Hands would be beating this. Oh my god. Oh my god. They were especially insane when there was, oh god, Armor of Contempt. But now they just can stay Devastator Doctrine. So guess what? Your entire army gets Captain Aura all the time. Your entire army-wide, for no CP or points, you just get reroll hits of 1. That's insane. And you can move and shoot without penalty. Oh my god. And you get more AP. Oh my god. If that was in 10th, people would lose their fucking minds. And like no one was even talking about Iron Hands. It was always like, oh, Imperial Guard are broken, Imperial Guard are OP. Bruh, Iron Hands are not that far behind them. Especially with the those birds I have on the left. I guess the Raptors, Storm Raptors. Those things were just so good. But yeah, this is probably the best one I could do for Space Marines for 10th. But it's definitely a major nerfing, which was kind of needed. But all the other Space Marines just don't even shine out, which is now kind of unfortunate. Same with Chaos Marines. Imperial Knights, as I call them, Towering Taxation, Noble Lance. I am aware of the taxation, and with the change done to the Warlord reroll hit and wound of 1, so it's only singular. But regardless, I still have the 2 Knight Crusaders because they ain't bad, and a Knight Gallant with the 2 Armiger Helverins and an Armiger Warglaive, and the Vindicator Assassin. Because if you still can get that early Warlord kill, fuck it. I still like this combination. I still think it's good. I am well aware that the changes make me maybe need to revisit this list. I think people dumpster on Chaos Knights too much, that they're just so bad. There was a pretty big difference between them and Imperial Knights, but because of all the changes being done, I think this is a bit better. This is something that makes it weird, though. The Knight Tyrant is better, in my opinion, than the Castellan and the other Super Knight for Imperial Knights. And they don't have as many wide buffs for Armigers, for their little War Dogs Small Knights, Mini Knights, as Chaos does. And with the Towering change, you could still argue, oh, well, it's still good. Yeah, but there's something else to remember. This is something I don't like. Now the community/events and tournaments are changing also their terrain to be less advantageous for Towering. So even though you still have the good Towering rule, and you've paid the extra points to run big Knights, now there's going to be terrain that's just not going to let you do it. So that's the thing. I don't really like that. So I might have to change this to account for meta terrain changes that are not very fair, and it's kind of like a bias that's being done against Knights. That's not right. There we go. I was like, that was Iron Hands. I just did that one for Space Marines. This is very similar. This is 2 big Knights, 6 mini Knights, to now 3 big Knights, 4 mini Knights, and the Vindicator Assassin. Sure to pew 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 get that Warlord kill. I think I've basically said everything I need to say for them. My first game ever was with Chaos Knights, and I think Knights are very cool. A simple army along with Custodians to kind of get started with. You could argue now that Grey Knights are actually simpler. Those are because it's just so few models you can run as a decent combination. But yeah, that's Imperial Knights.
Hello again. I improved the quality for this video and I hope it shows. I truly love this narrative setting in the hobby and I hope many others can come to enjoy it as well. Please subscribe and comment down below if you like the content I make or you're interested in future content. And feel free to check out my other gaming content, other poetry and song covers, and along with older Warhammer 9th edition gaming content. I really wanted to make this 30 minutes, but looking back, I'd have to talk for 1 minute or less about every faction, and I just don't feel like I could do them justice. It's just, I feel like I already went very fast as it is, as I would like to go into more war gear and alternate changes you can make for lists and more other thoughts and views on them. And I was going to actually include a lot of fun little soundtracks as well to just hype it up more. But maybe if I get some feedback and maybe if I get some more subscribers and some more people show interest, then I'll start doing those videos and I'll try to go onto the level of Bricky and some other streamers for the content that they make. Because it wouldn't be hard for me to get to that level, but it's just if without the other feedback in the community, then it's just kind of daunting to do for just myself. This enough was very fun for me to do, and I hope anyone who enjoys this video and watched this far had a good time and was able to maybe critique some lists, maybe be like, well, no, he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about, or you know what, that's pretty smart actually. And so, in the end, I want people to have fun. Maybe you learn something, maybe you don't. But without further ado, take care. Thanks for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Game on, gamers. Bye.